Museo Héroes de Malvinas. There is a lot of stuff to see. Archaeological preserved dig site, a recreation of a battle right here in this field. Welcome back everyone, La Plata, Argentina. We're actually outside of La Plata today. We're right on the outskirts of Ensenada, which is a city near La Plata, about 10 kilometers away, up on the Rio de la Plata estuary. So we're out here today to visit Fuerte Barragán, an old military fort that is out here from many hundreds of years ago, and also out here just down this little road that we found here. There is a museo to the heroes of the Malvinas War, Museo Héroes de Malvinas. Just a little ways up this road. And that's what we're going to check out today. So, come along. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you want to help out the channel and help it grow, I really would appreciate it. Click on the like button down there, the subscribe button, and the little bell next to it to be notified for when new videos drop. It really helps the channel grow because it's going to help the YouTube algorithm recognize this content and spread it to other YouTube viewers. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I would appreciate that as well. You can leave a super thanks by clicking this thanks button here and give a small donation to the channel. I appreciate your support. So back to the video, enjoy. So the fort up here, Fuerte Barragán, is named after a guy named Antonio Gutierrez Barragán. And he used to own this land back in the, way back in the Spanish colonial days. And he was a smuggler, basically. Back in the 1600s, I think, smuggling mostly slaves through a small port that he had created here on his land. Because actually right beyond where the museum and the old fort are up here is the Rio de la Plata estuary. And so this area here actually has been a pretty strategic naval defense area where a fort has been built and rebuilt several times over the few hundreds of years since 1700s. It was built originally as a defensive fort during the Spanish colonial era, but this whole area is prone to flooding because the Rio de la Plata estuary up there floods periodically. And the whole area has been flooded several times. The fort has been destroyed several times by the flooding and rebuilt several times. Now also over here, there is, like I said, the museum to the heroes of the Malvinas that we want to see. So here we are. I called ahead. This place is open, I'm sure. You can see there's the old fort over there. Some old cannon. And the museum to the Malvinas is right here in this hangar. Looks like here's a Museo Histórico Fuerte Barragán, and then the Museo de Malvinas. Two museums here for one. So we can head back in here and see what's up. All right, well, we struck out. The museums are both closed, but it's actually fortunate because I was able to speak with the secretary who works there at the museums. I think it's the same woman who I spoke to on the phone, but her name is Laura, and she told me that tomorrow here there is actually going to be a big fair, like a celebration that happens not very often, like every year or something, but we just happen to be here for it. And tomorrow both the museums are going to be open, but not only that, they're going to be doing a recreation of a battle right here in this field. A battle from 1806 when the English attempted to invade here and were held off by the Argentine forces under, I believe, Santiago de Liniers. Anyway, it happened in 1806. They're recreating it here tomorrow, and both of the museums are going to be open then. So I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, we are back the following day, back here at Fuerte Barragán, Museo de Héroes de Malvinas. And looks like they are open. I see a couple of cars going in, and they're setting some stuff up out here in the field where our friend Laura said that they were going to be doing the recreation and the festival and all of that. So looks promising. Let's go up here and hopefully everything will be open. All right, we are inside the museum, opened up, and inside you can see it's not very big, but it is very, very packed. There is a lot of stuff to see in here. When you first come in, there's a map actually here of the Malvinas, and over here along this entire wall they have an extremely detailed timeline, like day by day basically, of the war, which I haven't actually seen in any of the memorials or museums that I've been to so far. And it goes like it ducks back in here, and it's literally going day by day. 25th of March, right? 26th of March, 28th of March. I'm not going to obviously try and read all of this. It's all in Spanish. And this is something that I've actually, like, I don't know, I've learned a little bit about the whole timeline of the conflict. But it's very cool to have this here, and it's very detailed with all these photos as well. They have in here also, like, sort of in the main area here in the center, some pretty impressive an old anti-aircraft gun. They have a Mujeres en Malvinas, women in the war, in the Malvinas. Section dedicated to, like, the medics, the Argentine Navy. They have this missile, which I think may be one of the Exocet anti-ship missiles. Let's see. Oh, look at this. This whole thing turns on. There must be a motion sensor. Oh yeah, there's a motion sensor right there. That's pretty cool. You walk by, everything turns on. This looks like this is I don't know, like a recreation of a radar station. Yeah, I think this is an Exocet, or like a recreation. Maybe not. This may actually be an actual one. You can see inside. I've never seen this before. They have this cross section open so you can see inside, see all like the electronics and the guidance system and everything. That's pretty wild. Yeah, they have all this old, like, equipment, old helmets, and like old ammunition. These are models of all the different, like, types of planes and aircraft. Looks like not just Argentine but also British. Those are like Sea Harriers down there from the Royal Navy. Let's see. In honor of our heroes in the defense of our sovereignty, Museo Héroes de Malvinas, Fuerte Barragán, Ensenada. Here's the Belgrano. This is the, looks like there's a Soldado Argentino solo conocido por Dios. A memorial here. if you know about the history of the Malvinas conflict, you know the Belgrano sinking of the Belgrano is like a crucial event. It was like the single largest largest loss of life in one event during the whole war, and it was sunk by a submarine, a Royal Navy submarine. Here they have like a board with all of the, I think these are all the people from the Belgrano, or maybe for, this may actually be for the entire, this looks like it's the Darwin Cemetery, which is, there's actually a cemetery because after the war was over and Argentina retreated from the islands, they maintained a cemetery there. If you have a family member or something that you want to see their grave and pay your respects out there, if you're from Argentina, you can do that. Got some other equipment here, like a tent, recreation of one of the like infantry tents, I guess, pup tent that they would have used. Big machine gun. This was interesting. They have like news from like the time, actual magazines from like the time, from here in Argentina. There's like a little hatch here. I think this is like supposed to be like the hatch on like the Belgrano or on one of the naval ships. Little room in here. They really have a lot of stuff packed into this place. I mean, like I said, it's a small building, but man, they've got a lot of stuff in here. Old radio equipment. It's an old rifle. Yeah. Oh, look, this, I think this is a 5th and 6th grade, maybe, or no. I think this was like looks like it was made by like school kids. Maybe in one of the local schools around here. Letters written by school kids. Stuck out here. Trying not to clock myself on that low hanger. These are letters, I guess, that were written either to or from soldiers. Maybe both. Maybe some are from soldiers, some are to soldiers. These are actual like leftover equipment and stuff that people have donated, I think. And it has like so I guess like the people who donated it, their pictures, so you can see like some of the veterans. Or maybe, some of these people may not be with us anymore. They may have died in the war, and so maybe their families donated. Some like military IDs, medals. Yeah. And let's see, I think these are Punta Lara. Yeah, so this is written to Punta Lara. So these must be people who were local from around here, because Punta Lara is like right down the road. It's like 10 minutes away from here. Some plaques on the wall here from the city of Ensenada. I think that's it. Like I said, a small museum, but very, very well organized, very like tightly, lots of information packed into one space. The timeline along the wall over there, the most detailed timeline I've seen in any of these museums. Excellent. It's an excellent museum. If you're here in La Plata and you want to check it out, it's free. And I think it's open on weekdays, usually like in the morning, I think is probably the best time to come, I would say. But quite impressive. All right, let's head back outside. Out here behind the museum, looks like they have like a little memorial set up over here to the fallen of the Malvinas. Argentine flag up there. Let's take a look over here. Yeah, it looks like they have the names of all the fallen soldiers and sailors and airmen. And Malvinas Islands right there, the outline, the Argentine flag behind. It's a good experience visiting this place. Definitely something I enjoyed. While we're waiting for the festival to kick off here, they've got an old landing craft. I think these are old, like, amphibious vehicles, tracked vehicles. We would roll up on the beach in these things. Pretty wild. All right, so our friend Laura, the secretary here at the museum, she opened up this other museum, which is here, the Museo Histórico de Ensenada, I think. Well, basically, it's a historical museum that is about the 1806 invasion by the British, which happened like right here. A battle happened at the fort, and here's like an old, like a model. See if it's a little bit of glare, but there's a model of the fort. And there was a battle here where this guy, Santiago de Liniers, anyway, this guy fought off a flotilla of English ships that were trying to land here in 1806. There's an old map. This is like a recreation, right, from 1953, but it's a recreation of an older map of like what this area looked like, and at least what they, yeah, so here's Estancia de Lara. So this is, and Punta Lara. And then, let's see, this is like, I guess we would be right up in here, I think, right? See, now a lot of this landscape here has actually changed. There's a big port here now in La Plata. It's like the port of La Plata. I think a lot of the shoreline looks very different now than it did back then. And also there have been several floods. Like I mentioned, this area is prone to flooding. And every time there's a flood, it's gonna like leave the shoreline looking a little bit different. Looks like this is a diagram of the fort. Here's I guess would be where the cannons are, pointed out towards the river estuary. They have some old cannons here. Some cannonballs. And what is this? Elements of artillery. Oh, this is like fragments of naval artillery, I think. Incoming naval artillery. An old anchor from one of the ships. These are some old, like little old musket balls and bayonets. Let's see. Yeah, the defense of Buenos Aires. Here we go. The scene in the afternoon of 7th of July, after the victory, and when the British Army and the second invasion. Oh yeah, that's another thing we should mention. They didn't just try to invade one time, the British, back in 1806. There was a second invasion in 1807 as well. Sala Puerto de la Plata. So yeah, the port of La Plata. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Port of La Plata. So this is obviously like more modern. These photos, they're photographs. One, there were no photographs from 1806, but this looks like when they were making the port, which I imagine was like 20th century, early 20th century sometime, it looks like. Trying to find a date on this plan here somewhere, but you can see it. There's La Plata, the city, laid out in the grid, like we talked about in that video that we made about the city planning of La Plata. It's all laid out in the grid. And out here, there's this Camino Blanco. That's like the road that we actually take on the bus to get out here to Ensenada. When we leave La Plata, when we take a bus to come out here, we go up along that road and we end up here in Ensenada. And just south of Ensenada, there's the port. Ensenada was here before La Plata. It's older. It's older than La Plata. There was a settlement in Ensenada long before there was a La Plata. What do we have here? This is the uniforms of the Navy from 1807 to 1881. Oh yeah, here's the very older naval uniforms. It's cool. It's cool to see old naval uniforms, old military uniforms. These especially old ones from the 1700s and the early to mid 1800s. I find them kind of crazy, the uniforms that they would wear. But I mean, I don't know, warfare was very different back then. Here's the Hall of Naval Aviation. Here's a propeller. There's actually a sort of like the husk of an old plane out back of this museum. Constable Joaquin Oitamen. Here's some of the very, very early flights. And let's see, aircraft carrier here. The Portaaviones ARA Independencia, the Independencia. Anyway, I think we're gonna go outside and I wanna take a look at the ruins of the fort because they're right out here. We can just take a look and see all the actual ruins of the fort. And then eventually, pretty soon, the recreation and the whole festival is gonna kick off here. So we get some, we'll get to check that out too. So let's go check out the the ruins of the old fort. So here we are right outside at the fort. That's the museum, by the way, that building right there where we just were. And the fort's right here. So it's all of this is all located like very, very, very close. And literally right on the other side of this building is where the museum to the Malvinas is. So if you are coming here, it's all like right here. You don't have to walk around too much. Everything's right here. And the bus to get here, if you take a bus, it drops you off like on the road right out there. It's not far at all. So this fort is all original. Laura was just telling me. It's all original. From dating back to like the 1700s, but it was definitely here when the English invaded or attempted to invade in 1806. There's some like a archaeological preserved dig site part right there with some of the stuff that they found underneath. We'll go check that out in a second. But out here, you can't see right now because there's trees. There's a bunch of trees that have grown in. And I think also Laura was saying that like the water line in the estuary is like further back now than it was at the time of the invasion. But from what I understand, at the time of the invasion, the water was basically came like all the way up to here, and out there, it now basically on the other side of those trees, if you were to go like, I don't know, like two city blocks or so out to the other side of those trees, that's where the water is right now. It's like just on the other side of those trees. But you can see they have some of the cannon. There's another one down there. The like cannons where they would have them. And this is the spot. It's basically just like on the estuary at a very strategic point where that's close to where you would try and land if you were trying to like do an amphibious landing from ships, if you were trying to land troops. And you have to sail past here, right? So what do? You find a geographically and strategically important point. You build a fort, put a bunch of cannons in here, and start shooting at anybody who sails by. This is what I was talking about, the like dig site where they found, I guess, like remnants of the old patio, because the fort itself, that's just the battery up there that we were in. Like if you remember that picture that we saw in the museum, this one, the battery's like right here, and there was a whole section of the fort all the way back to here. So like this, what we're looking at now is like the patio. Looks like there was a well, which makes sense. It's very cool. And I could hear them doing sound tests over there at the stage, so we're going to be around for when the festival starts. I'm pretty excited for that. I'm actually really excited for the recreation, the historical recreation. But yeah, they're firing up the music here, so we'll check back in with you once everything's going along here, and actually might try and find a little something to drink or eat, which I'm sure I'll be able to find. But we'll check back in soon.
van perdiendo terreno y son superadas por los criollos que dan feroz resistencia. ¡Viva la patria!
Well, that's going to be it for the video. We're running a little bit low on battery here on the camera, and the party's still going on behind me, but we're going to head back to La Plata, catch a bus up here, and that was really cool. I'm honestly really glad that we weren't able to get into the place yesterday when we came here, because if we had been able to get in, we would have just filmed everything, and it would have been a good video, you know, about the museum to the heroes of the Malvinas, but we would have missed out on a bunch of stuff. We wouldn't have gotten to see the fair that was happening there. We wouldn't have gotten to see the recreation that happened. And also, you know, off camera, I talked to some people who I met there at the fair. It was very, very fun. It was cool. It's always cool in Argentina, honestly, to go to one of these things because you're gonna meet people, and if you speak even a little bit of Spanish like I do, you're gonna be able to talk to people. And man, they love talking with me, and they will love talking to you too if you come here. I promise. Argentina, man. One thing a friend told me before I came to Argentina, an Argentine friend of mine, he said, "Look, if you start a conversation with an Argentino, you have to have at least 10 minutes to spare because you're going to be talking for a while." Very, very sociable, everybody there. It was very cool to meet everyone, and I really enjoyed it. So I think that's going to be it for the video, though. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and we're going to have plenty more coming from La Plata. So stick around for that, and we'll see you in the next one.